Alright guys, welcome back to Crypto Harmonics. Today's video is the first in a whole series I'm putting together where I open up my privacy coin portfolio and I show you guys which privacy coins I'm holding and what percentage of my portfolio do they have. And I'm going to start with the one that has the largest share here, which is Particl. And Particl is really so much more than just a privacy coin. It has a whole ecosystem built around it. So I want to talk about why I see the huge potential with this project here. In fact, I'm going to give you some numbers, my projections for the end of 2018 as far as market cap and the value of the token. And then at the very end of the video, we're going to take a look on the charts and see where the best possible entry is at today for people that don't have any Particl and want to pick some up. So without further ado, let's check out Particl. Alright, here we go. We got Particl, decentralized markets on the blockchain. And you can see here the market cap, a little under 200 million with a current price of around $21 per part token. So not a super small cryptocurrency, but enough to get it on the first page of CoinMarketCap, but still really undervalued in my opinion. So let's check out what this Particl project is all about. Alright, so let's talk about the first major value proposition with this Particl project, and that would be the peer-to-peer marketplace that they are creating. Right now, I believe it's in alpha, but the first quarter of 2018, we should see the beta. I think this thing is going to be huge. I think this is something that's definitely needed in the blockchain space, and in an age when kind of everything is, let's put everything on the blockchain, this is actually something that needs to be on the blockchain. And the utility of this token within the platform is really good too. So the velocity of it, so it's going to be used. It's actually a utility token with utility. So, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But the first thing that really kind of comes to mind with this peer-to-peer marketplace is the reduction in fees. So if you're able to list it on this thing, you're cutting out the third-party intermediary, right? And so you should have a reduction of fees. You don't have to pay, like, for instance, if you're listing something on Amazon, you have to pay a fee to Amazon. And I've heard of some stories where it's even 40-50%. I'm not a seller on Amazon, so I can't verify that, but people that do sell on Amazon, I've heard 40-50% sometimes they'll take. Even if it's 10-20%, you're going to be able to get better rates on this marketplace. I believe the listing fee right now is 0.01 part, so that's about 20 cents. So if you're selling a $20 product, you know, you're looking at a 1% listing fee as opposed to maybe 10, 20, 30% on a bigger third-party site. So if you have reduced fees, more profits for the seller, which should equate to better prices for the buyer. And why I think that's huge is if you have a marketplace that is known for having better prices, the obvious, you know, answer there is that buyers are going to begin to flood into that marketplace, which will actually bring in more sellers, and then you just have this whole circle there. So, which will equate to big profits for Particl stakers. And I'll explain how all that works in a little bit. But you definitely want more and more listings on this marketplace if you're a part staker. The second thing is that this peer-to-peer marketplace is currency agnostic. And I like this because it allows you to just pay for with whatever crypto you want to, you can pay for the things listed here in this marketplace. Now, some might say, well, doesn't that take away from the utility and the value of the part token? Why do I need the part token? Well, although it is currency agnostic in the sense of I can pay for whatever with whatever cryptocurrency, it needs to convert to part in that, and then the seller will receive part and they can cash out in whatever cryptocurrency they want, or fiat or whatever. So you see the use case there in the turnover rate, the velocity of the part token being used. It has to be used in every single transaction. And so I like that. I think that gives it value, but I also like that you can make it currency agnostic to where people can come and pay with Litecoin or whatever. You won't even see that Particl part. And it's just happening in the background. So I really like that. So the third thing here is security and anonymity with this peer-to-peer marketplace. So Particl is built on Bitcoin's code with Monero's privacy features like confidential transactions built into it. So it is a privacy coin, but it's so much more than just a privacy coin. It has this whole ecosystem around it. One of the things that attracts me to this with the anonymity feature and really security as well is from two different perspectives, the buyer and the seller. So if you take the buyer, for example, first, when I go through a third party and I buy things, that third party has all my card data, has all my information. If they were to get hacked, all that is right there. When I buy things anonymously and with confidential transactions, I believe the amount and the buyer and or the wallet to and from is obfuscated, so none of that can be seen. I can sleep soundly at night that nothing's coming out of my wallet that I didn't verify, right? And then as a seller on this marketplace, I like the anonymity feature as far as let's say I'm selling something on a third-party site and that third-party site gets wind of, hey, this guy's killing it. Let's undercut him. We have the same products. Let's sell it for $1 less because we see all this data here. We're logging all this data on this guy. He's selling all this stuff. Let's do it. We can do it better. And so Particl as a marketplace, as a blockchain, does not care who's selling what, and they're not trying to outbid you. It's just simply there to facilitate the transaction. So I think that's a huge plus. So an obvious question that kind of comes up with this whole private peer-to-peer marketplace is, well, how do I know I'm not going to get screwed, right? And so, if as a buyer, like, how do I know that they're going to send me what they said they're going to send me? And so what they've implemented is this MAD escrow, right? And it's mutually assured destruction. And it's kind of a game theory, almost military term, which basically means what it implies. Neither one has any financial gain, financial incentive to screw the other person over because they'll both lose their escrow. So what happens is there's a digital handshake, if you will, before the actual transaction. It's held, the escrow is held in a smart contract. Both put up escrow, and so if the agreed upon terms are not met, the escrow busts and neither one of them gets their money back. So neither one of them has any incentive to screw the other one. And it's the buyer and seller both have an escrow to lose. So by you have this mutual financial loss that should, in theory at least, encourage good or fair behavior. And I'll talk about what happens to the busted escrows because it's kind of interesting. All right, so Particl is self-funded and self-governed. And for me, this spells out sustainability, especially with the self-funding mechanism of it. So 10% of the staking rewards goes to fund the project. So developers or pay for marketing or whatever needs to happen. This is similar to the Dash Treasury Fund. Most people are kind of familiar with the Dash Treasury Fund. So I think that really helps the sustainability of that project. They always have income coming in, and obviously as the project grows in value, they have more and more there to fund further development of the project. And then they're self-governed, right? The community votes. If it's flagging illegal goods or updates to the network, the stakers have a vote and have a say, which is this whole kind of decentralized movement there, and this self-governed for the people, by the people kind of movement with all these currencies. And they have every reason to flag these illegal goods because you want this to be as clean of a marketplace as possible so that more and more people come to it. All right, so let's talk about if you're a part staker and you're staking this Particl token, the passive income potential here, because I think it's huge. And this is a long-term play for me because, I mean, who doesn't want passive income? And there's so many opportunities with these cryptocurrencies to do that. So Particl is one that I love that they're proof of stake. And it's 4% here in 2018, which isn't massive, but you have to keep in mind too, these tokens that say, 120% per year or something like that, that's borderline hyperinflationary coins. So the value is not going to go up very much. This is something that's a very stable inflation rate. I believe it goes down to 3% next year and then 2% after that. So there's as more and more people flood into this thing, the value of the coin is going to go way up. And then you get listing fees, right? So 0.01 part, we talked about that earlier, but the listing fees, all listing fees are going to Particl stakers. And so you can see the potential here. I mean, you get 100 lists on there and 1 Particl is being distributed out to that, which is not massive right now. But what happens when there's 10,000 listings per day? What happens when there's 100,000 listings per day? You know, I don't know. What's the potential here? So, and then busted escrows, right? Busted escrows, we talked about that. When they are busted, if they are busted, those also go to Particl stakers. So you have so much to gain here as a Particl staker, not just the 4% per annum. And then this is the big thing, and I could do a whole nother video on this. I'm by no means an expert on cold staking, but I definitely think it's the future of proof of stake coins. It allows you, basically, in layman's terms, you have an offline wallet which actually has all your Particl token, and then you have a hot wallet, right? And in my understanding, you're basically send an ambassador over to that hot wallet and say, hey, look, I've got this many over here, and you'll receive your staking rewards each day. That way, it's just like it implies. It's cold storage. It's cold staking. You're offline, and you're not having to keep your laptop or your computer up and running with your wallet up and running at all times and be susceptible to hacks. Oh, that's a real picture of me right there. Okay, so let's see. So some things to watch for, right? And these are the things, in conclusion, these are the things that I'm really watching that I think are going to pump the price big time. The launch of the peer-to-peer marketplace, I believe we're in alpha right now. Beta is coming the first quarter here of 2018. Getting added to other exchanges. I was shocked to see Particl, the only major exchange Particl was on was Bittrex that I saw. It was on a few other little ones, but nothing major. Get it listed to Binance or Bitfinex or some of these major exchanges here, and I think you'll see a huge price increase. They have a private messaging app that, you know, and along with other dApps as well, right, that can be built on this thing and create more value for the Particl ecosystem. I'm not going to talk too much about the private messaging app. I think that's a ways off in the future. I do like that they have a private messaging app with end-to-end encryption, though, within the platform, so you can communicate, buyers and sellers can communicate together while still remaining anonymous. So finally, here is my projections, and these are my projections through this year. I believe Particl will be a $3 billion market cap by the end of 2018, which puts it at about $325 per part token. And I couldn't help but think about, when I was looking at this project, my greatest regret was not buying a Dash masternode this time last year when it was about $10,000, $11,000. Looking at that today, it's worth over $600,000 and is paying out an annual salary, if you will, of $50,000 to $60,000 per year just for running that masternode. All right, so if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know a few days ago I posted this trade here. It was a Gartley pattern, kind of hitting at this D point here, which was an area of attraction before for price. And it had, I think it was on this day, I'd have to go back and look at the feed there, but the following day we had this huge bust up, and then it got sucked back down, but now it's looking like it's going to push higher here. Now keep in mind, this is all-time highs right here for Particl relative to Bitcoin. So, you know, I would be a little wary buying in here, although I do think we are going to all-time new highs with Particl. I think Particl will outpace Bitcoin this year in growth. I'm always a little wary buying at all-time highs, right? So you could see if this area will suck back down into this range here. Anywhere in this range, I think, is a solid buy. Usually I'm very precise with my targets, but for a long-term play like this, and you just want to get some Particl and start staking, I think anywhere in this 0.0023 to 0.0018 area is a great place to pick up some Particl. All right, guys, that does it for me. I will be unlocking the second coin here that has 13% of my privacy coin portfolio here pretty shortly within the week, hopefully, and giving you another breakdown on it. To stay in the loop, if you guys want to join the Slack, you can. It's free in there, or just follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll be posting trade updates and stuff. That's more up to the minute stuff there. So, all right, until next time, take care, guys.